Why?
Well, because I lost all my people for leopard.
Well, I don't
So
know
I don't
what
know.
to say.
I don't, yeah, I'll keep looking. Never mind.
I can't.
Okay.
Republican Party Network. Where did you get that from?
Zoom call tonight.
What?
They're Zooming tonight.
Keeper,
You know,
leopard.
on Twitter.
Hi,
Afternoon,
Don.
they're all there.
Okay. Hi, Don. How's your son? Don, did you hear me? I guess Don did not hear me. Okay, we still have a couple, 2, 3 more coming in. And this is going to be a quick session. If you're playing, someone's playing some music in the background or something, if you could mute yourself or turn off the music, that'd be great. Thank you. As we go through this, if you have specific questions, just because we're a small enough group, just to shoot them out. If I'll show you where you can put other comments or questions as we go on. Okay. All right. It's 4:02, so why don't we begin? Welcome to the Republican Party Network. This little session is designed to take a look at how our Republican clubs can be change agents. And we're focusing on Republican clubs, but obviously this refers and references to any Republican organization, however it's framed and however it's put together, or it could be a group of Republicans who are interested and excited about something or have a particular issue that we want to organize around. It's also not limited to Republican clubs. We know that there's a lot of legislative districts around the country that are looking at ways to do things. So it's really kind of open to anybody, but our focus is on Republican clubs primarily since the start of the Republican Party Network, because they are basically unregulated in a sense. People come together because they have an interest or they want an affinity for putting something together in their community. And it's not tied to anything legal or regulatory in any way. So our focus is on Republican clubs, but it certainly is not limited to that. So let's just jump right in. One of the things that that's primary about the Republican Party Network is it gives Republican clubs, organizations and groups the opportunity to hear from speakers, experts, various individuals from around the country rather easily. And that's set up all through the network, all through the Republican Party Network. So you can think of it this way, and we've done this on a few instances. We're still in the kind of basic stages because we're still getting it all together. But you think of your organization, club, group, it could be just a house party where you're bringing in some folks and you have a projector or you have a TV where you're HDMI and all of that, and you hook it into the Republican Party Network and you immediately see all of the information there on Zoom. And as you may or may not know, Zoom is free if you're limited to 100 people and you are able to have it for less than 40 minutes. Obviously, you can have more expensive premium plans, but in essence, it really makes it available and easy to use. And we can set it up for you. That's the real key. So if you contact the Republican Party Network and you say you'd like to have a speaker come in focusing on critical race theory, for example, and your group would like to talk about it, we can set that up for you and have it ready to see. And it's pretty simple. So the first thing then is that through the Republican Party network, we can set these things up for you. And it can be on trainings, speakers, and obviously discussion. So we get a little bit more complicated, and now we get into really some of the real important things about the Republican Party network is that when we start bringing groups together and clubs together and organizations together that are Republican who are seeing the same thing. And that's very powerful. So you have two clubs, for example, watching the same information on critical race theory again, and they're watching it, listening to the information, the expertise, the speaker, whatever it might be. And right after it, now they have a discussion with each other about it and talking about it in terms of what they heard, what they would like to do, perhaps how they want to organize around it in the sense of getting more people involved, who they want to contact, or even more, what they might want to do together. In other words, mobilize. So it's a situation where you got two groups of people, two clubs, for example, or two house parties, or two legislative districts, two of anything at the ground level, and they're watching the same information. And then as soon as it's over, they get a chance to talk to each other. And obviously through Zoom, you can do that because you can see people. You turn your computer around, even in the most basic way, and you see people speaking and talking, talk to each other, and start planning some things together. And that's a very powerful kind of thing. It's very empowering because it gives us the opportunity to do things that we might not otherwise be. So for example, if you're with your club or with an LD or whatever it might be, and you see something and someone comes up in the discussion and says, you know, we should be working with this group or that group. Well, you can't at that moment because you're not there with the other group. And you know how things go. People have these great ideas. They walk out of the meeting and then life gets in the way and it just doesn't happen. So what this does is it gives us real-time opportunity to actually organize right then and there. Now, you take this a step further, and now we could be talking about a number of clubs or organizations, again, seeing the exact same information, the exact same speaker, for example, and now you could see 4 clubs or 15 clubs, and you can put them in rooms and obviously in Zoom where you can really organize. People come back after they discuss things for like 15, 20 minutes, and then they come back together and they see all kinds of things they can do. Our purpose here is to introduce this idea and to tell everyone that with the Republican Party network, we can put this together. We can do these kinds of things. How it looks like, what happens, this is up to your inspiration and only your imagination on how this could happen. But you don't even need a speaker. You could just say, hey, we're going to bring together 10 Republican clubs, some in New Jersey, some in California, some in Arizona, you know, and we're all going to get together, putting the time zones together, and we're going to talk about X and Y, and then we're going to decide, okay, what do we want to do together in our communities and really now look organized and mobilized. And as we know, the other side is scared to death of when Republicans do that. And the reason because Republicans don't do that. And when we start doing that, we start changing everything. We start changing ourselves, the Republican Party, and that's the most important thing here. And so this is a possibility. If you're interested in finding out more about this, obviously we can spend lots and lots of time on it, but this is just to introduce it. Now, we're going to be going into the network in a few minutes, just to briefly show you a little bit of some of this real stuff, and so you can actually see and not just theoretically look at it. But there are 4 basic areas in the network, and we have more than this, but these are the 4 that we want to talk about at the moment. And it begins with interests. And when you fill out your profile, when you first join the network, and we know a lot of people haven't done this because we just don't fill out profiles. we want to get either right to the network or we don't really want to share a lot of information. But in this sense, it does ask you for your interest. What interest you have, I think 5 or 6, whatever it is. And we're going to see that in a minute. And you put down your interest. Well, that interest becomes a way to organize with other people on the network around your interest. Then there's topic areas. The topic areas are just that, topics that are key and critical. And you can have an infinite number. We have a specific number set there only because that's what's been set. But if you decide, I have this a topic I'd like to have on here, you can set that up. You have the ability to do that. You're the empowered to do that. And when you set the topic up, then people post, they put comments, they put videos, they put images, and they start a real discussion about that. But the key then leads to groups. Groups are basically a network within a network. In other words, the scaling nature of the Republican Party network says that there is no end to what you can set up. You can set up a group that really is a network for everyone in your country, your community, and your state. And what we mean by a group is this. You have topics that you can set up in your group that are specific to your group. You can set up events, which we'll talk about in a moment, that are specific to your group. You can take a look at how you want to put together various activities in your group. You can post, you can comment. It becomes a self-contained network. Events are what we're doing right now. And the events are from within the network. One of the things that's unique about the Republican Party network, and just let's say Zoom, is that you cannot do anything outside the network. And that's why when you wanted to get into this particular session today, you had to actually get into the network and then go to the specific event and then click on the link that's there. The reason for that is a couple of things. One, security. We've taken great lengths to make sure that this network on the platform we use is secure, that no one is looking over your shoulder. And I see everything on this, and I'm ultimately responsible. If there's somebody doing something on this network that's not appropriate, we give them one warning. If they do it again, they're banned for life. There are no, it's a broken windows concept here, folks, if you know what I mean. And if someone uses foul language or is rude, same thing. The other thing that's important about this is that if we're not here to criticize each other. We deal with issues. We're hard on the issues. We're soft on the people. And I may not like what you're saying, but I'm going to deal with that issue. Now, very important here. This is for constitutional Republicans. And I mean Republicans. It's not, I'm not trying to get it. We are the Republican Party network, but you know what I mean. We're for the Republic and the Constitution, for liberty and everything that means. If a progressive gets on this network and starts, trying to hawk their ideas, they're gone in a New York minute. This is very clear what this network is about. We are not here to debate socialist, Marxist ideas. We're here for the things that we value, which is basically liberty, the golden rule, and things of that sort. So that's the theory in terms of that. Finally, now, before we get quickly into the network, and I wanted to divide this in half, 15 minutes here and 15 minutes we get in, and it looks like I'm going to be pretty close. By doing these things that we just talked about, and extrapolating them to ways that I have never thought about. And I learned from all of you unbelievable things in terms of ideas and thoughts. When we start doing these things, it grows. It's, the word organic is used quite a bit today, but that's what we mean. Everything grows from the Republican Party network members. The structure is set up but that structure is continually evolving based on the relationships. You know, when you come on the network brand new, you don't know anybody, let's just say. And then you start meeting people. Well, as a result of that, the people that you meet start changing the way things are organized. And that's the power of it. We start saying, oh, we can do these things. So first thing, this is a resource. And we're going to be expanding this into a lot of ways with a number of links, which still keep you on the network. That's going to be all kinds of unbelievable resources. For example, again, going back to, say, the 1619 project, we're going to be listing tons and tons of resources on why that is a horrible thing, and all kinds of things. There's no end to it. Expert information. The other beauty of this thing is the people on this network and the people that are not on this network yet are experts. This country was built, as you and I know, on the strengths of the American people, the greatness of the American people, and that's being tossed aside. And what we want to do is bring it back in. And we want to be able to learn from each other, to use the strengths of each other to restore this country the way it's supposed to be. And so expert information, connections are everywhere. That's what it's about. We want to connect with everybody on this network. And our goal is kind of, it's a not really a modest goal. We only want 75 million people on the network. That's all. The 75 million people that voted for President Trump. Kathleen said that to me. You know, what if we could get the 75 million people in this country to do something all at once? Wouldn't that be something? So we're going to try that. Why not, right? And so that's our goal. We want the entire country that cares about this country on the network. And the good thing about it is this platform can handle it. There are no limitations. There are no boundaries. The only thing that is a boundary is our thinking. So we want to organize. What does organize mean? Organize means we start valuing each other. We start valuing each other. That's how we're organizing. We're organizing around ourselves, what we value, and the issues that are important to us. And once that's done, we start mobilizing. Okay, what are we going to do about it? Everything is that, okay, what are we going to do? When you hear an expert speaker or something, it's always designed then, okay, what are we going to do about what we just heard? We're not here to be entertained. We're here to get our country back. And then all of this together, we believe will change the Republican Party. That's our goal. We want the Republican Party to represent members of the Republican Party. Now, that may sound a little funny, but right now, the Republican Party represents the donor class. It represents the consultants. It represents, think about Georgia, where they had that election. Hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Consultants, 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 big shots. That's not, we've got to change that. It's us, the Republican Party member. And then finally, as I said, everything is a call to action. So let's get in now to the network very quickly. And we will do that. Okay, we're now in the network. And when you get to the network, you see this. And so let's go over those things we talked about. The first thing, interests. These are the interest categories. These are the interest categories. And so if you haven't done this, go back to the profile, your profile, and select an interest. Select an interest for you. The reason for that is because when you select an interest, then you're going to find people in there. So if your interest is the education of our youth, these are the people that said that right here. And so what better way to start organizing with these folks? Because first of all, you value the same interest. And now you want to learn from each other. Okay, what do we mean by the education of our youth? And so you can start posting in here ideas. videos, images, start talking to people. People say something, what do you mean? And that's, so interests are very important. And that becomes a major way to organize around. And the next area um, is topics that we talked about. And these are the topics that are listed right now. And the goal will be to have, for every interest, there's a topic. For every topic, there's a group. For every group, there's events. They're all seamlessly connected to each other. And that will happen. But if I put it together, it means nothing. It will happen because of the members of the Republican Party network will slowly start putting all of this together. So let's just look at Restoring Faith-Based America. These are folks that have signed into that topic area. This is an area that they're interested in. And then, so these are topics and information that people has put on here. Unbelievable information and resources. And if you go into any one of these, like Sidney Powell here is a comment on, you then can look at it, comment on it, and start making a connection with someone. And it becomes a very powerful way to begin really getting information out and connecting with other people, starting to find out, okay, what are the things we value? What do we want to do together? Bottom line is this: if we're going to make a change, it requires us to do things differently. That whole Einstein saying, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. More commercials that say our cause. Let's get better candidates in there that say our cause. Let's find constitutional conservatives that say our, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, hey, folks, I can go out on a street corner and yell much louder, and then I can get a microphone and yell much louder, and then I can get a big giant thing. But the point is, it's not working. It's not working. We've got to do things differently. And what we're talking about is through a network. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, quickly then, we now have groups. And this is where I said about it being a separate network. And with regard to topics, you can set up a topic. Let me go back to that just to make sure you're clear. On the topics, you see the plus sign? That's where you can add your own topic. You just add it and you put it in. So when you see the plus sign, it means that you can do something to add on. So let's go to groups now. And you see the plus sign, that means you can put a group together. And so we have a number of groups here that already existed. One of the things we are going to say, though, probably, and we're going to have the terms and the conditions being put together. I have to have I'm going to get an attorney kind of go through this thing and make sure that all the T's are crossed and all that. And we want to do that for, obviously, to protect all of you too. But everything right now is working fine. But, on the groups, these are groups that we've put together. And the defenders, for example, law and order, law enforcement, this is its own basic network right here. And you see this on this other side? It's the same thing you just saw in the network, the basic Republican Party network. This is the Republican Party. This is the home of the Republican Party network, this color. All right, we go to groups. And now we go back down to defenders, and you see the color changed. It's a completely different network, but it's everything that was in the other one. This defenders group now, they can have their own events. They can invite people. They don't have topics listed because they just haven't done that yet. And the way you would do that is, well, I'm not, this is not my group, so I can't do it, but they would go in there and they would manage it and they would put those things together. And we go back to another group. And again, you can make any groups with this that you want. So you see all the groups. So let's look at New Republicans. And again, you see it's a different color. And now you see the manage and the plus. That's because this is my group. So if I want to change some things here, I hit the manage, and now it talks about all the settings and the way I want to set it up. I close it. And as you can see, it has topics, just as it has in a larger network. You can invite people. This tells you about what the New Republicans is. These are the members of the New Republicans. The activity feed is all the action that's taking place in the New Republicans, events, and so on and so forth. In other words, it's completely self-contained, and you can create your entirely new network in terms of how it exists. So that's basically where we are in terms of the Republican Party network. And just as events coming up, and now I'm in the Republican Party network at this point. I'm not in any group. And as you can see, here are the events that are coming up. This Friday, we have a club cafe where we basically just talk about the clubs. The America First Book Club is coming up on Monday. And that's where we're talking about Devin Nunes's book, which is on socialism. And then we're really excited about Senator Russell Pierce going to be talking to us Tuesday, June 1st. We have the Declaration of Parental Independence. If you haven't gone to that yet, that's a major movement that's happening around the country in terms of taking back the schools for parents. Now, here's one that's interesting. Babies have choices too. This is not on the network. This is actually a physical place. So if you want to put something on the network that's actually taking place somewhere in your club or organization or anywhere, you can put it on the network. You can give the location, and that way people know where it is. Community coaching, defenders. It has a session in June. And then we have Nick Loeb, who's some of you may know him. He's the writer, director, and the producer for Roe versus Wade, a big time star, an actor, and a great guy. And he's actually going to be speaking on the network in June. We have some other folks coming up as well that are going to be on here that I think pretty powerful folks. And so look for them. Okay, any quick questions at this point? Because we're at we only have about a couple minutes to go. So quick questions at this point. For anyone. Gotta be at least one question.
How long have you guys been on this?
What's that?
How long have you been doing this?
Good question. We launched April 26th. So 1 month today.
Okay.
And so I
That's why
say
I've been,
not bad for 1 month.
no.
Yeah, April 26th. I forgot that. Thank you for the question. Yeah, April 26th.
'Cause I just got on, I don't know what it was, but I seen the Republican. I thought, I'm going to try to see what it's like. I'm independent, but I do all my stuff Republican.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad
Oh,
you're
yeah.
here. Any other questions before we call it a day?
Hey, Yale, this is Butch Kunstler. I'm new, just signed on about a week ago or so.
Okay.
I really regret that I missed the parents thing. That's one of my key things, but I got caught downtown and couldn't get back. But I chair the Australia Conservative Republican Club, and we have 65 paid members, and we're carrying about 130 people on our email list. What would it make sense for me to put that entire club on this program? I mean, we meet once a month. We bring in speakers. I've got a high profile guy coming in next month on the Electoral College. out of Oklahoma. And I mean, we're kind of doing everything that you all are doing here. And I guess I'm trying to figure out if am I just going to be repeating what we're already doing by adding that club to this site?
Butch, what is the name of your club again?
The Australia Conservative Republican Club. Our website is www.ecrcaz.com.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, here's the answer to the question.
Okay.
Yes, everybody on the network. And the reason for that is very simple. Our goal is to connect the entire country. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And we've, like, you know, your club, your organization, like so many others out there, are doing unbelievably wonderful things.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing. And
Yes.
here's the distinction between us and the Democrats and the left.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, some of you may know, and I worked 40 years on the other side. So they are completely networked. They are completely networked. They are completely organized, and they are doing things in collaboration with each other. And we don't have time to go into this now,
Yes,
but
sir.
the reality is what we must do is replicate that.
Okay.
And so, for example, the great work that you're doing needs to be shared and connected with another group in New Jersey.
Okay.
And we can do that on the network. We can
Okay.
talk to each other. We can connect with each other. We can expand ideas with each other. And most important, we can mobilize. So, and while you missed the first one, as you say, then this Wednesday coming up is the declaration. And we are going to be on that day, putting the country into 4 regions. We are going to be identifying a contact for every state. And we are moving ahead. Some of you don't know about the declaration, but this is designed to eliminate completely government schools in this country and
Okay.
have the money follow kids.
Yes.
Anyway, the long and short of it is, we can't do that with one club.
Yes, sir. That's
But
correct.
you got it. You got it right away. I can see
Yep,
by your
yep,
nonverbal.
Absolutely.
You got it. That's the thing. And it gets back to my point that I made about the wonderful things that are going on and the unbelievable talents and strengths that we are not sharing with each other. So that's the purpose of the network. Any
Okay.
other questions or comments or thoughts before we bring it? I really wanted to keep it to the 30 minutes, but I want to answer any burning questions if there are any.
Now, is there daytime every day and nighttime certain days?
I don't understand the question. Say that again.
Like I see one 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a Tuesday. You got like that every day at that time?
I
And
see.
at nighttime talks, you have that certain days or what? Because I belong to Zoom on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night because we
I
talk
see.
about other stuff.
Yeah, no, we're trying to establish it so that the events that take place once a month are always at the same time. And we are
Okay.
doing that. And if you go through the events, you'll see some that are repeating every month,
Okay.
same day, same time. And then you'll see some that are just one-time events. But we're going to try to do it so that there's consistency. And then also we record them. So for folks that miss them can also see them. And we'll put those in an archive area or in the topic area. So we're trying to have as much consistency as we can. But right now, there is a little bit of difficulty with that.
Yeah, this is Frank Greco here. Are we going to put the United Republicans of the border communities in this network?
That's up to you.
That's your own group. You start that own group.
Okay.
Yeah. And my hope would be, the answer is again, yes.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Okay, that's great. You know, the whole idea was the clubs again. And the reason for that, I keep like a broken record, but it's just simple because the clubs are not regulated by anybody except the people in the club. And, you know, we want to dispel the myth right away, right now. Our goal is to strengthen and empower the clubs so that we strengthen and empower the Republican Party so that we can start having it as a force for the things that we believe in. And
Yes.
that's our goal.
Dale, can I say something?
Please, Susan K., go ahead.
Okay, I want to Frank. Okay, your border community project group, you should go in to the members and just scroll down the members because I welcome them and I encourage everybody to fill in their city and state because that's important. And we have many members in border states that you can really be connecting with and doing something.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that information.
Up in Florida, Texas, just take the border around the country.
Right.
Oregon, there's just problems all over.
Yeah, great point.
These
Great
people are on
point.
the network.
Thank you for that information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, Frank.
you can write to them privately. That's a private conversation. Nobody sees that, but you and the person you're writing to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
We'll
great
do
point.
that.
A great
Thank
point.
you.
You know, that's another way of organizing, the way Susan K. just described that. And that's a great point. And again, that's the creativity and the genius of the folks that really have, no one's ever asked them or their opinion. And that's what we're about. That's what we're about. One more point that I want to leave you with so that we get a clear thing on this. We can do so much together when we're connected. And if you have 2, 3, 4 clubs that are connected to each other via the Republican Party network, they can talk to each other about things that they want to do together. And when we start doing things together, that's when we start really can have some power and influence. Okay, thank you all very much. I saw the comments here. I did see them, and I will get back to you if there was a question. Anyway, thanks very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Frank.
Bye.
Hi, Don.